Thank you so much. My name is Rabab Abdelhadi. I'm the director of the Arab and Muslim Ethnicities and Diaspora Studies Program, 68. I wanted to just appreciate what you have done, beginning with placing it in an international context, because we're still dealing with now the finance, capital. There is a reason why there is no rooms, and there are no rooms because they need to be purchased. But we're dealing also with the same kind of rules that keep getting imposed every single day to curb student activism, to stop us from doing what we need to do, to follow up on the spirit of 68, education for social justice. And faculty and students and staff here know what I am talking about. I'm not going to go all the details, it's going to come through. But I wanted to raise a point, and we're called radicals today, we're called terrorists, we're called anti-Semitic. There is all sorts of things we are actually called specifically in order to separate us from each other, silence some of us, in order not to support the others. So these formulas are still going on, and the challenges are coming up again. My question is what actually Loreen started with. You know, we're calling, so it's okay to call you Loreen? Comrade Loreen. What Loreen started with is saying we. We and what does we mean? Who are we? Today, when we come to commemorate the 1968 strike and the founding of the College of Ethnic Studies, as a result, specific result of the strike, who are we? Who belongs in the we? And who is considered outside of the we? Not only by us, but the powers that be. And how do we preserve the legacy of 1968 and make sure that none of us are excluded and are sent outside of it because of some foreign policy objectives, or because of some neoliberalism, or because there are some dependence on donors and so on. So that's really a big question for me, for my students, and when I say students, I'm not talking about only Arabs, Muslims, and Palestinians. I'm talking about all the students who are interested in justice. Students from various programs in the College of Ethnic Studies, as well as white students, including Jewish students, who have also been denied to speak up because their voices contradict the voices of those parts of the Jewish community that ally with the university. Thank you.
Respond. Huh? The panelists like to respond?
Yeah, but I'm chairing this one. No, we can handle it. We'll be okay, don't worry. We will survive the next 15 minutes. Just in terms of a quick response, let me say this, that in building a movement within, we were, as Terry likes to say, we were internationalists. I guess maybe because I had my own life, I came out of SNCC. I came out of Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. I was trained as an organizer. When I came to this campus, I had, about 3 months before I come to this campus, I had already visited North Vietnam. That was in the fall of 1965. That was before the military got there. I was there before Jane Fonda was there. So we already had those kinds of connections, but we didn't see ourselves as being supporters of the various movements in the world. We saw ourselves as being a part of the various movements in the world. So that we didn't see it as providing, simply providing support services and raising money. We received, our relationships were such that we received congratulations from Cho and Lai Mao Zedong. We received congratulations from the workers and farmers movement in Vietnam. We received placards from the Pan-Africanist Congress in South Africa. You know, we had direct connections, and some of us had already traveled to Cuba. So our relationships we didn't have a kind of a dim thing about who the we was. And nobody ever asked us. Because if you identified yourself as being black on this campus, as being black or blue-eyed, blind, their thing is, we want to be with you. One of the leading organizers in terms of developing research and foundations for the black student. It was a woman who was born in the concentration camps, the Japanese concentration camps, not Magnolia, Mississippi, that I know well. What I'm trying to say is this. that whatever struggles that are going, each generation must, out of relative obscurity,
Use the
discover
mic.
its mission. Okay. Fast went on. That was our lesson. Each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. Trying to lay out a historical context in the post-war period. This is not the same. This is not 1966 or 67 and 68. You can draw on and use some of the same tools, but one has to use students and faculty. Let me start over again. You faculty and students have an obligation to help each other discover the mission and engage in the struggle around the amelioration of the people of the world, the planet and the people of the world. That's the work. That kind of work has to go on under these social circumstances. That little flimsy piece that I put out earlier, for me, here it is. It'll take at least 50 years to reconstruct the destruction that's taking place right now under this proto-crypto-fascist program that's being oriented and developed. And it affects the entire world. Today, this morning you wake up and the world is shifting and changing. The U.S. military is now leaving Syria as of today. Well, it doesn't mean anything except that you have a whole group right now that's trying to put together a program in the federal government to start drafting people without regard to gender. So what happens if a draft program comes up? I mean, a military draft. Why were white students involved so deeply in the anti-war movement? Their parents, their loved ones, and they themselves didn't want to go and die in Vietnam. Very concrete interest. So the work that has to be done, man, there's not going to be anything boring for the next 20 or 25 years in this country, because whatever you do, whatever skills that you learn, if there's a program structure, here, we built a program. That Center for Educational Innovation was a program. Black Arts and Culture, it was programmatic to go up to Hunters Point and go down to Fillmore and recruit, dragging, kicking, and screaming. Go ask Danny Glover how he got to campus. Kicking and screaming to get to this campus, right? Making spaces for people like Dr. Ramona Tasco, who comes on the campus from a Catholic school, well-trained, well-tutored, well-prepared, and told not to put out or express who you are. Who you don't have to reconstruct the basic skills, but reconstruct oneself. And so this is now world-famous physician comes out of that framework. Why? Because some people sat down and had the heart and the guts and the mind and the ability and the will to engage in critical thinking. And to take those risks and to go to jail and go to prison and to lose family, to lose wives and children, to lose parents who broke with us in some cases because we did what we felt we had to do at that historical moment. This is another historical moment. People are talking about the Green Deal. That might be something you draw on. Find a way to prepare yourselves for serious work for the uplift of the broader community and your local communities. That is the work. How that's done here at San Francisco State, we're not going to resolve that today. What we do say is, anyone who wants to engage in creating conditions where people can develop to their full human potential. That's who we are. Who had a question? Good. Hello. Give your name out here.
Oh, I'm Jace.
Hello, Jace.
I just really wanted to say that I salute you all for the effort that this
First thing I paid for the spring of 1966. I paid $62.50 for everything. $62, all my courses, everything. Hello? Yeah. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? How much is, how much is the fees and tuitions for a full-time student at San Francisco State now? How much? About somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 is what it costs to go here for a year, right? All right, so mine in 2 was 120, yours is 20 and 30. Somebody's being gamed, somebody being hustled, and I got paid to go to school, right? Nobody came to me and said, you have to take a loan out that puts you in Dutch for almost the rest of your productive life for taking these loans. So, you know what I'm for? I'm for what's called a jubilee on all these school debts. Wipe the school debts out. Well, how does that happen? You organize to get rid of the debts. Say, look, pay the same thing Jimmy Garrett paid. $60. Now, that's a jubilee meaning out of the South. Jubilee meaning freedom. Freedom from that debt. That might be part of the Green Deal. I don't care what it is. But that operates in your interest. That's your that's the same thing as going to Vietnam to fight a war. If you owe $100,000 out of a state school that's set up to give you the richest education at the lowest possible price, then they ought to be paying you to go to school. The 1%, the guy who owns Facebook could pay for everybody on this campus to go to school, wouldn't have to pay $8 and wouldn't have to live in those trucks and stuff out there up and down the street, not to be homeless, to have food and clothing and shelter. That's what you're organizing something different now. But you're organizing just as hard, just as rich. But hey, between Facebook and Google, nobody at any state college in this country should pay a dime to go to school. They'll pay you to go to school.
Don't be sorry. My second question is for the whole panel. I would like your impression. Do you think that what we did contributed to the change in the amount of tuition that is now charged to college students?
I think when the student population changed from a dominant white institution to an institution populated by students of color, the desire to keep the tuition low from the state became less on purpose. So that the number of white managerial level people that were needed were in place given the change in the economy, so that if you want to go to school now, you're going to have to pay for it.
It went from, I'll end with this, went from education as a right, to education as a privilege. The whole philosophical notion of the purpose of education shifted when the ruling people had gotten all theirs in, drained all the resources, and then the whole shift, there's a whole shift. So whereas education was the third largest industry in 1950, what is replaced by is the prison industrial complex. Becomes the third largest industry in this country because now you have people are redundant and you got to do something with them, and what you do with them is render them idle and obsolete and put them in prison. That's the big shift. So they make these state schools semi-private schools and make the students here pay almost as much as you do going to some of the liberal arts private schools. You're paying $20,000 or $30,000 a year. That's essentially what you're paying. Not Harvard, where you might pay $150,000 or $200,000, but that's for the people. That's for the ruling class anyway. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.